I'd like to introduce Renee from the United States. Welcome, Renee.
Thank you.
Could you tell us for what condition you take LDN?
I take it for pain for my fibromyalgia and fatigue for the chronic fatigue syndrome.
And when were you first unwell? When did you start receiving your first symptoms?
My first symptoms were as far back as 1984, looking back once I put all the pieces of the puzzle together. But I was always so hyper and such a workaholic that I just pushed through everything. But life has always been a struggle, but I was always good at everything, because if I didn't do everything 150%, I would probably fall apart. I'm sure that happens with a lot of people. And there was just different things that always happened, at doctor's visits and different things, and nothing really made sense. But, once I hit 50, my body just gave out and said, I'm not doing it anymore. And doctors still had no answers, so I just fired them all in my head and just started doing research and different supplements I would take. And I found through a friend told me to try taking some stress B complex and vitamin C every 2 hours for 2 weeks. And that got me from, after 2 years of sleeping, I had to order groceries in. I couldn't even go grocery shopping. I finally was able to stop sleeping. And I kept looking and looking, and I found LDN like March of last year of 2010. And I just started researching the heck out of it. I'd spend hours and hours, just reading every single thing I could find about it, which took me to different websites. And I finally decided that I was going to go for it. I finally went to my doctor and sent him all the paperwork, and he was in a bad mood and pretty much shut me down, which was very disheartening to me, because, I'd read so many people was having very good luck. And so I started going on the Yahoo groups where people were ordering their own, compounding their own. And so that was the path I chose. And I was very adamant about it, and ordered it. And a month went by, 2 months went by, 3 months went by, and it still didn't show up. So I thought, okay, well, maybe I won't take it. And so it finally showed up like 3.5 months later. I guess there was a lot of storms, and it finally showed up, and it sat on my computer desk, and I just kept looking at it and looking at it. And, in the meantime, I can't walk. I had to go downstairs sideways, and hang on to the handrails. I couldn't do anything. It was horrible. Plus the pain. And then when spring hit here in January, even though it's not supposed to, but it was just gorgeous. And I would just sit in my chair. I couldn't even move my head. I just had to look out the window. And, I saved energy to go to the grocery store once a week, and I would get in the water to do some water walking or jogging for my knees, because I was afraid to get blood clots. So I forced myself to do things, and I didn't know if it was hurting or helping, but I just kept doing it after being in bed and immobile pretty much for 2 years. I was determined not to be, but mind over matter can only work for so long.
Yes.
So I started getting kind of depressed. And I thought, oh, no, this is all I need. I always hear how people get depressed from all this. And so I said, heck with it. And that's when I, got my little bottle from Walmart pharmacy, and they gave me a syringe, and I got some distilled water and mixed it up. And my daughter is in college, and she was away on spring break. So I decided I'm just going to try it. And I started taking it April 2nd of this year. So it's only been a short time, but pretty much the first day, I didn't really think I noticed anything, but I did, but I didn't want to admit it. And by the second day, I really felt less fatigue. But by the 5th day, I could actually walk without limping. It was like a miracle. I didn't know it was going to help with the arthritis that had gotten in my knees. that since I haven't been able to walk properly since '08, and the fatigue had lifted. But what really amazed me was my mood changed. I was no longer depressed. I actually had a better outlook. So it helped my fatigue. It helped my knees, my pain, and my mood, and it helped my hunger. It curbed my hunger because it was like I was always, looking for something to eat, especially at night, before bed. And I haven't had to eat anything before bed since I've been on it. It's been amazing.
Did you have any initial side effects?
The side effects that happened was, I think the second day I had diarrhea, but I didn't want to, think that was a side effect because I do have IBS. So I thought it was just that. And then I think it was the sixth day I ended up having really, really bad stomach cramps at 4 a.m. and just profusely sweating, stomach cramps, and diarrhea, and it lasted 5 minutes, and then it was gone. And I was like, wow, okay, well, I decided, the next night I'm going to try to cut my dose down in half, because that was very painful, having that. And then when I cut my dose in half, I got where I couldn't walk very well again after just 2 days. And I thought, you know what, I can handle 5 minutes of stomach cramps to be able to walk. And that was the only day I had that. So it was it could have been anything. It could have been the lasagna and the garlic bread that I had for dinner. It could have been anything. I did read some people can't mix, dairy products with it. And that very well could have been it. Because I did read, too, that endorphins are responsible for, moving your intestines or colon or whatever, and so that lasagna is a very heavy meal, and so I also thought maybe I just ate too much, and the endorphins were doing their job, and my body wasn't used to having its job done properly. And my IBS has gotten a lot better. If I get stressed out or upset, I used to go straight to the bathroom and have diarrhea, but I haven't had that.
So how long have you been taking LDN now?
I started April 2nd, and today's the 27th, so it's been 25 days. And I all the reading I did, I started at a very low dose, ultra low dose, they would say, because a lot of people would say that the reason why they quit is they couldn't handle the side effects. And so I didn't want to be one of those people, so I figured I'm in charge of my own, compounding and administration, and I researched it to death. And so I decided to start at 1 milliliter, and I didn't think I would feel the effects, but can you imagine my surprise on the 5th day to be able to actually walk like a human up and down the stairs and actually want to go outside, which I couldn't do without hanging on a basket or limiting to walking time to 10 minutes. 1 milligram has been fabulous for me. And I tried to go up to 1.5, and it it just didn't feel right yet. So I just went back down to 1. And it's doing really well. And like I said, I did read that a lot of people, that's all their body can handle. Even though I've been a hyperactive person and I was always moving all the time, I think once my body just finally gave up on me, and I couldn't do anything for years, and pretty much the 2 years that I was in bed sleeping, and then the last 18 months where I have been trying to live mind over matter from my chair or my bed. And I think that if I would have started at the 4.5 dose like was recommended, I think I would have lasted not very long, because 1 milligram, I felt a difference, pretty quickly within a couple days, 5 days, really a lot. And I think 4.5 would have just scared me away. I'm not sure because I didn't do 4.5, but 1 milliliter has been fabulous for me at this point, and I'm very happy, very happy. All the people who sing praises of LDN, I know what they're talking about now.
So what would you say to other people who are thinking of trying LDN?
If they're actually thinking of trying LDN, I would definitely say go for it. You know, personally, like I did, the more research you do, the better, you know, because you feel more confident when you do try it, and it is something that you definitely should try. And one reading I was doing, I saw a new website yesterday from Cindy Lentz, I believe her name is, and she said that it's one of the biggest people-powered medicines, and I thought that was such a great line, because it's true, it is people-powered, and power to the people, because it is amazing. And after reading, you know, Julia's book talking about how much money the economies can save by just, you know, using something so simple, it's just very frustrating that it's not available. But when you find something that works after suffering for so long, and I haven't even suffered, even I couldn't get out of bed or my chair, I haven't suffered as much as some people that I have read about that has LDN has worked for them, even though some of them may still be in a wheelchair. They're alert, they're focused, they're happy. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. So yes, I definitely would recommend it, and I would move mountains to try, just like I did. Too bad my doctor was in a bad mood, and I lost my health insurance because I couldn't work anymore since '08. So I pretty much was paying for everything. Otherwise, I would have went back and probably wore him down. But I just decided just to do it my own self. Everybody else was buying them from overseas, and I made sure that the tablets, you know, were exactly what everybody else was getting, and from the same pharmacy that everybody else was getting. And I'm just ecstatic, just happy. I haven't had to take any Motrin, any Tylenol. I still take my Epsom salt bath because it feels good to take a hot Epsom salt bath, but I do still take my vitamins. But I've just my liver is probably all happy because I've been taking Motrin since I was in my 20s, and I'm 55 now.
Wow.
So, you know, my body is probably like, wow, okay. But the inflammation reduction in my knees, I can even see. You know, my right knee has always been bigger than the left, and I can actually see that it has gone down, and that's what I equate, the less pain from is from the less inflammation pressing on whatever was being pressed on since '08. I mean, it feels pretty much like a steroid injection. Like I got a steroid injection, but I didn't, which is another thing. I saved my body from being worn from, and my thyroid from injections that I didn't want to get. I would rather just hobble around and grimace in pain than go through, risking thyroid problems. I mean, any more thyroid problems that I already have, which I hope LDN will help my thyroid too, I hope.
Well, I hope so too. Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us, Renee, and long may